Hi guys. All right, today let's talk about the void. So if reality is made of ones and zeros, getting in the void is where it's at. And most people are afraid of the void or they don't understand it. So it's really important. So as myself, I talk about the things that most people don't talk about, or as sides of manifestation that are missing. And a lot of times when you find me, you feel as if you found the missing link or what's been missing or what have you. And I get that. So true to my nature, let's talk about the void. Yeah? All right. So if reality were made of ones and zeros, then the ones are the things that have been solidified in what you know, and the zeros would represent your potential, the everything potential. So if you understand the design, you actually understand that people are actually the veil towards the things that they want and what they don't want, and both things exist within you. So what has been solidified is what you're there to fix, that you're serving as the veil. It does not exist without you. If you are the problem, you are also the solution. And that's what you have to really embrace in understanding that God's ideas are whole, that every experience happens because of you, and without you, it doesn't exist. So it takes real ownership, okay? So a lot of times when we want to get to doing manifestation, and you understand this in theory, there is a time in which maybe you've done affirmations, maybe you've done mirror work, maybe you've done shadow work, maybe you've done whatever you can to get to know yourself and really look at your darkness and accept it. So this is the phase in which you are doing your absolute best to love yourself where you're at. Okay? This is a very important phase because you see, the mirror externally does what you're doing to yourself inside. And if you are unable to love yourself as you are, then the mirror can't do it either. That is the purpose of diving deep into yourself, looking for that self-exploration to understand your reality and yourself as first cause. Okay? So, if you've worked on these things, and let's say you want to manifest a car, let's say you want to manifest a person, let's say you want to manifest making up with a person, what if you want to manifest anything, really? It doesn't matter what you're trying to manifest, okay? If you don't have it, you are trying to convince yourself that you do have it. So there's going to be whatever method you use to manifest, whether you use scripting. See, at this point in your life, you should already understand which ones you're best at and what to use, and so that manifests quicker. But any method works. Scripting, visualizing, mirror talks, subconscious affirmations, listening to books at night, repeating affirmations to yourself if you have to. It doesn't matter what you've done to get your subconscious and your conscious mind into alignment. Right? Well, once you do this, you're going to enter what's known as the calm, the 0 point, the void, that which you can't quite describe. You can't describe it because you've never been there before. That's why it's called the void. You don't have a reference of experience, and it forces you to be present. Okay? If someone were to describe this void to you, and if you're not in it, you wouldn't understand this perspective. But what they would say to you is basically this. They would say, I've been emptied. I don't feel empty. I don't feel like something's missing. I'm just fulfilled. I am comfortable in the nothing. Okay? This void is what causes you, like if you've been working on your self-concept, you've been working on your self-concept, you've been working on your self-concept, or you've been working on repairing a relationship, or you've been working on getting a car or your job or whatever, there is that point in which you feel fully satisfied and you just don't want to do it anymore. You just don't want to struggle. You just don't want to struggle against yourself. You don't want to continue to do the so-called work. This is the point inside of you where you feel done. You just are done. You're over it. You don't want to do it anymore. You've lost your desire. And a lot of people are afraid of that stage because you think that losing your desire means that you won't get your outcome. And nothing can be further from the truth. If you remember what I said about manifestation, the shortcut is not to want it, not to need it. In fact, I said, if you do all of this work, this self-love, this self-development, and do everything for the sake of obtaining another person, you've already fucked up. You already did it backwards. That's not why you do it. Will you get that person as a result of your effort? Abso-freaking-lutely. Yes. That person or better in a continuous stream forever and ever, because all bodies are illusions of you. But you must reach the level of understanding in which you are no longer seeking. You can't want something and have it at the same time. God's ideas may be whole, but the desire is only half the medium. The desire is only half of the step. If you do not complete the circuit, then all that you are doing is wishful thinking, working against yourself, and not inside the void. You will act as if things are not with you yet, as opposed to acting as if they can't inevitably be. Your relationship with Source, when it is really solid, will manifest itself everywhere as proof. But there has to be this moment in which you stop working, in which you stop trying to effort, okay? And once you do that, once you lose that desire, or once you feel calm, or once you feel that peace and you don't really quite know what to make of it, congratulations, you've just reached the present moment. This is the sweet spot, and this is where you want to live from. This is where you want to live from. Because if you've achieved the type of level of peace that no longer desires your object outside of you, because you've understood it's inside of you, then the work you're going to do is obviously dependent on what's inside, not out there. And the more you do this, the more you focus on this, and you understand yourself as Source, the less desire you have for the external world. I'm not saying the external world doesn't show up to match you, but because you no longer need anything in it, everything shows up anyway. It's the shortcut. And I'm telling you this because I'm telling you the answer, but here's what I want you to be careful with. Even though this is the answer, and even though this is exactly what happens, you cannot embark on this journey because you're going to get everything. That defeats the purpose, because that keeps everything away from you. Remember what I said about your eyes serving as mirrors and working backwards, and your ability to see backwards actually helps you big time? That's because if you have an external focus, you have lost it all. You're going to now work hard when all you had to do was be still and know. If you need to convince yourself, do whatever you have to, but at the end of the day, work towards reaching the void. And the void is unique because it is not manageable through force. It's not manageable through force. So I want to give you this visual so you can understand this, okay? When you no longer need anything, everything comes to you. Everything is coming to you anyway, you just needed to become aware of the design. So as soon as you understand that, you simply show up and experience the present moment. You're just free to be. And then your actions are determined from that state of not needing, which makes everything come to you. But it is not done through force. You cannot force this understanding, because your experience is the ladder that you climb to get to this level of understanding. So even though I'm giving you the answer, it's kind of like those tests in college or university days when they would give you this test and they would give you the answer and you had to work your way backwards. That's what I'm giving you. That's the gift I'm giving you. This is the answer. You must figure out the question, which is you. You're the first cause. See? Once you understand everything about yourself, you understand the universe. Okay? It's a very different, genuine way of showing up and living. So that to avoid this, okay, this feeling of completion, or to avoid this sense of being in the void where you're not sure what to feel and you're not sure what to happen next. See, when you do this out of fear, you're locking yourself into what I call the payoffs. Okay? Payoffs. So I'll explain. We are afraid of our desires, of having our desires, just as much as we are of not getting them. They work both the same. When you don't go for them because you're afraid, you're living with what I call the payoffs. So for example, if you never get into a relationship, the payoff is you never get hurt. Okay? Here's the thing, that payoff may be true, but you also never live the richness of life. And so what kind of life is worth living if you don't relate to anyone on it? You know, that makes sense. You see, you have to be able to weigh these things out. But when you understand that you can have either or and it depends on you, getting comfortable with the void is necessary because you're going to walk right up to the present moment, which then allows you to see the path before you. Rather than what happens is you resist, then you go back to your old ways, and then you get trapped in your old ways, and then no matter what you do, your old ways keep manifesting outside of you. You know, and believe me, you guys, I learned this from my interactions with you. I absolutely learned this from my interactions with you, because we are each other's mirrors, and in understanding that, I can see all of these things. And so you want to be careful for payoffs syndrome. You want to be careful with destination happiness. You want to work on being happy now. And this happiness cannot be dependent on someone else, ever. That's just not how it works. Okay? And while you're in this void, I understand you're going to be afraid of the unknown. And I'm asking you not to be afraid, because that's what distorts the field and forces you back into submission. And that's how you stay trapped in your old 3D circumstances. And if you want to transcend them, this is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to get comfortable, face yourself, do exactly what you're afraid of, because what you're afraid of is the barrier. It's the shortcut. It's the shortcut. So walking right up to the present moment allows you to see what's on the other side. Fearing what's on the other side is what prevents you from living your best life. So getting comfortable with that sense of completion where you say, okay, I'm done with my affirmations. I'm done with this. I get it. I'm going to live like this. I've decided to be this now, and I'm going to be okay. And getting comfortable with that without trying to control anything, you will notice that everything is coming to you anyway. This is why the Tao is not controlled through force. It's controlled through your state of being, which may be the most difficult thing you will ever master. But this state of being is literally determining how everyone behaves in your reality. Okay? So getting comfortable with the void is important. It allows you to be present. It also allows you to see what's on the other side. And for many of us, the reason that we're here is to help you evolve beyond your limitations. That's why we're stepping up into our roles. The truth is, we are headed into a very much a robotic age. So all the manifestation coaches are springing up out of everywhere. That is by design, you guys, because a lot of people are going to be out of jobs really soon. And it's the ones that are real clear on their meta skills that are going to be able to outthink the computers that are going to be in demand. So, take advantage of us. Understand how we're helping you, because all of these subtle energies are the invisible things you can't see that some of us can see. I can. Okay, that some of us can't see, and these invisible things are responsible for how your reality behaves and does everything that it does. So you want to reach this sense of completion without fear. You want to reach that level where you just say, I'm done trying to manifest. I'm done. I'm done. Okay? Now, with fear, I'll give you one other shortcut. And this is something that it's the only way I can help you, because I already love with detachment, and many of you, that is your hardest thing to overcome. You're loving with attachment, and you can't do that. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't mean to say can't but I mean to say can't like you shouldn't. And I'll say it this way. Losing my son helped me understand that everything in this world is borrowed. Your job is to love the best that you can when you have it in the moment, but it is temporary. So love with detachment, but love every day as if you'll never see this person again. Love that way with detachment, okay? So in doing so, here's the hack of the century that helps people that are afraid to let go of their desire, okay? The truth is, you cannot lose. Everything is designed, as I said, everything's coming to you anyway. Everything is designed to serve you. You cannot lose. So the fear many of you have when trying to manifest an SP is, what if it's not that person? What if it's not that ideal? I'm afraid to find out I'm going to fail. I'm afraid to lose this person. I'm afraid, what if it's not this? It has to be this person or I'll suicide myself. Crazy, crazy things like this that go through your mind, okay? That is the reason that you are not living your best life. This attention is wrong order of operations, and it will not work to your advantage. It's just not how it works, okay? You have to understand that everything is set up in your favor, and you must be willing to walk up to that fear and say, fuck it. It's this or better, but I can't lose. So ego, that's no longer going to scare me into submission. It's this or better. And I'm going to choose to live that way, this or better, in every chance. So basically what I do is I get out of my own way and allow the universe to show up as it should. And knowing that I can't lose, I love with complete detachment. Now, a magical thing happens when you do that. Your person suddenly wants you. Why? Because your need is no longer in here. It's outside of you, where the people will carry it out for you to demonstrate it. It's a mirror. It's a mirror. I can't say it any simpler. It's a mirror. It's always been a mirror. And everything that we do is being mirrored out in varying degrees for you to see. And when you are undivided in your love for yourself, the level of your life will not be able to live without you. They don't want to. It's kind of funny because they feel the pull of God. And they know that this person is their radiance, right? So then if you are that type of person, and I am, so I can explain that, right? I am that type of person for anybody that I date, right? So if you are that type of person, you have understood your worth. And so then 3D will show up that way. 3D will go out of its way to value you because this is the mastery of your lesson. This is the fact that you realize that the relationship with yourself is the most important one you can have, because that's what's being mirrored out. You are no longer trying to fix anybody outside of you. You've understood the assignment. You've come back and you've taken everything you can and accept it about yourself, work on yourself, get right with yourself until you reach the void. Once you reach the void, that's fantastic. You should no longer want to do the work. You should no longer want to write anything. You should no longer want to do all of that. And what you do afterwards, go work on another goal. Put it down. Ignore it. Let the world serve you. See, the law works both forward and reverse. So within your story, you either understand how you embody it, or you will hustle outside of it, trying your damnedest to prove yourself worthy of it. There's no in between, one or the other. Can't serve two masters. So the secret sauce to everything's losing your desire. Losing your desire. Okay? And it's a lot easier, and I'll admit, to lose your desire when you have an excellent relationship with God, because, you know, God kind of handles everything really fast, easy, and, you know, so letting go is not a scary thing. But those of you who are afraid to let go, who are afraid to do these things, you're not letting God show up in your life the way they're supposed to. So you can't be loved that way. All right. So think about this. If you've reached the void, if you understand what I'm talking about, the void, if you're not trying to force anything and you're kind of unsure how to feel, that's okay. This is normal. Allow yourself to absorb this, because everything that comes in forward from this day out is something that you can use. When climbing the mountain of enlightenment, you're going to take one step at a time until you get to the top view. So don't be afraid, once you've gotten to that top view, to understand that now you're in the void, and the void contains everything. Remember what I said, your subconscious is a giant warehouse that has everything in it that will ever exist, that has existed, or that is existing now. All of it is already there. You already have everything. Your job is to find your storehouse within. And you'll understand that with an external focus, you lose it all. That's why it feels so bad. That's why if you love someone so much that when you lose them, you want to commit suicide, that's why you've lost your own sense of love for yourself. And so that's why life feels like it's over, because love is everything in the universe. So your job is to realize how you are loved, because that helps you see how you are everything in the universe. Once you've done that with peace, tranquility, and you're comfortable in the void, you don't know what happens next. And believe me, I live like that a lot. I don't know what happens next, I just know it's for me. I'm not judging in any moment. I live a life of surrender. But my surrender happened because of my submission to God, my submission to the project, my submission to the divine. I've been fortunate enough to have been raptured. And that sounds crazy even to me, because I am not religious in the least. So for me to stand here and say sounds weird even to my own eyes. But believe me, for the spiritual seeker, once you've seen God's face, that's enough for a lifetime. Then nothing else in the world matters. And then the mission becomes sharing the message that you've been blessed with. So your own purpose is revealed by your understanding of self, your true self. It's beautiful, but you gotta be willing to walk up to the void. You gotta be willing to walk up there, because everything in life requires a leap of faith. Everything requires a leap of faith. And yeah, you're gonna have to get comfortable with being in the unknown. But if you're not projecting anything into the space of the unknown, you can actually perceive reality as it is and not as the illusion. And that is the goal. That is the goal. You want to be emptied completely so you can perceive things as they are and not as a wounded soul, not as a soul that has things to work on, not as a soul that hasn't confronted its own darkness and fallen in love. Because that's what I've done. Quite honestly, I've fallen in love with my own darkness and I appreciate every second of it. And without it, I wouldn't be me. And so I'm in love, deeply, deeply in love with my darkness. And so that makes me somewhat invincible because you eventually become trigger free. It's an ever quest forever, but eventually that peace sort of takes over. So I promise you want to live like this. It makes life worth living. And anytime something goes wrong, you pick yourself back up and everything's better the next day. So, it's not really, what do I want to say? It's not really wrong. It's just that you forget that that's the reason you're there. And once you've understood that, you get comfortable doing whatever is needed in reality. So please get comfortable with the void. Your goal is the present moment. Stop avoiding it. Face it. Walk right up to the fear and know you can't lose. If your ego is scaring you into submission because you don't want to lose your person, then just walk right up to that fear and say, I can't lose. It's either this or better, and my evolution is more important. And as such, you will find that your person will come to you. It's the way that it works. Just don't do it for that reason. Because otherwise you're still seeking out there. And I told you, your focus has to be on you. You're the source. And once you get that, sunshine, life is worth living. All right, you guys. Love you. Bye.